Hey, everybody. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back if it's not your first time. If it is, make sure you hit the subscribe button below and turn on notifications. I put out videos just like this each and every Tuesday, and you don't want to miss them. So today, is the market slowing down? And before I answer that, I want to back it up with some facts, which may surprise you. I know they surprised me once I started digging in. So has the market slowed down? We're going to look at two metrics and numbers to really dive into and explain whether it has or hasn't. So we're going to talk about pending and closed sales. Normally, we talk about median price, we talk about days on market, other stats, but we're going to do something new today. So pending sales, that is how many properties had an offer accepted in a given month. It's not how many are currently under contract on the whole. It's just for now in July, for instance, how many went under contract, had a contract signed, and are still under contract. And closed sales, straightforward. How many sales actually went to settlement and successfully transferred hands in a given month? So before we actually go into the charts, where were we the last 2 years? We don't want to just look at 2020 because it's a complete aberration. COVID has thrown every trend out the window. So we don't want to compare direct to that because it's a bad measure. So in 2019, pending sales, we had 105. We spiked up in July to 150 in 2020. Closed sales, similar trend, right? In 2019, we were at 64, and in 2020, we went up to 120. So where are we now? This combines single families and condos. Again, usually I split these out, but for the purpose of defining the market, we're going to talk about both combined. And this looks like a freaking roller coaster, and for good reason. So you can see on the left side, as you start to go through 2019, you see your relatively usual dips and rises, but there's really nothing astronomical happening there, right? And then as soon as we hit COVID time, right? So we creep up to a higher than normal February, and then we fall off a cliff, and then we fall off the cliff entirely and are in the bottom of the canyon in April. And then we took off like a rocket ship, and it didn't really slow down a whole lot through the rest of 2020 until we hit December. And then we hit another spike, right? People come out of the holiday slumber. They realize summer's coming up. Let's get a place at the beach while we can. And you may or may not remember this chart from a market update I put out earlier this month, but really in the fall is when prices started to take that almost exponential rise. And as you can see, the amount of pending sales has relatively gone down flat accordingly. So we've also made it down to, shocker, pre-COVID levels of pending sales, 2019 to 2021. They're pretty even. So that's one metric. We've come back to normal from a pending sales standpoint. How about closed sales? Similar story, right? It's a little more balanced out here without the huge peaks and valleys throughout 19 and 2020, although there are some notable dips again in May and in February. But we have the same huge spike throughout into the fall of 2020. We take a dip in the first few months of 2021 as people again came out of their holiday shells in January to put homes under contract. They didn't tend to settle until March, maybe even April, to delay those mortgage settlements. And both of these closed and pending changes are driven almost exclusively from a condo standpoint. Single family stayed pretty flat. We get to where we are now in summer, even in spring, and you're pretty much on a level playing field with where we were in 2019. So what does this all mean? We finally have our pre-COVID levels of pending and closed sales. We have effective balance, and that happened because prices rose to a certain point where that demand started to fall off to normal levels. You know, I don't believe we're still having 20 plus offers on every property that hits the market. Part of that is because condo demand has dropped, right? As you're not going to get any rental income until 2022. So why do people want to carry the mortgage for the rest of the off season? That's one reason why I think demand has pulled back. But the best ones are still selling quickly, right? If they're in pristine condition and in a prime location, they're going to go quickly in days with multiple offers, almost regardless of price, just because there are so few like that out there. But the market's slowing down. but I'd be remiss to make it very, very clear for you that you should not expect prices to drop. So we've only reached balance because prices got to such a point where enough buyers said, you know what, screw this. I'm not doing it at this price. I'm going to stay on the sidelines and see how things play out, whether that's prices come down or they stay flat. And eventually I get to the point where I'm going to pull the trigger and do it. So that's the story in a nutshell. And hopefully this isn't total news to you, but it might be. If you're looking to buy, I would expect prices to start plateauing. But that, again, that doesn't mean come down. So the only thing that's going to happen is that interest rates will start to creep up over the next year or so. So if you find the right one, I still recommend you pounce on it. If you're looking to sell, it's looking a little bit less rosy of a coming next couple years, right? We have interest rates going to be going up. It's going to put pressure on buyers on what they can afford. And we also are going to have the corporate workplaces starting to shake out exactly how that remote work-life balance is going to go. You know, we had a lot of folks coming down from the cities. Are they going to adapt and want to live here and say, you know what, forget you job, I'll do something else? Or are they going to be forced back to their city of employment? So if you have any questions, here's my contact info. I would recommend check out my Facebook page, follow me on Instagram. I'm putting out helpful information as often as I possibly can. And if you find this helpful, definitely hit the like button below and subscribe. Turn on notifications if you have not done so. Every Tuesday, as I mentioned at the start of this, I'm putting out a video for you guys to helpfully help you figure out what the heck is going on to help you make an informed decision. So I appreciate you taking the time to check this out and watch to the end, and I will see you on the next video.